Dear friends, for a little longer than 2 years, I had a UN mission that left me with a heavier heart and paradoxically also with greater hope. A heavier heart because I dealt with a war crime that is called the oldest, least punished and least known of all war crimes. Conflict-related sexual violence, rape and other forms of sexual abuse. But I also met all of these fantastic women that carry everything. In so many countries, they carry the responsibility for their families, they carry children, water, produced to the market, but they also carry the shame of having been raped. Not the perpetrators, but the women themselves. But they don't want to be seen as only victims of sexual violence. They are agents for change, as we like to call them. They want to play a part in their families and societies, in their countries, and in the world. They pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. They give hope to their children and their families that things will get better, and they engage. So it gave me also more hope for the future. Today, I have come straight from London. Today, there will be more than 200 ministers gathering in London for a global summit on conflict-related sexual violence. If we don't use an opportunity like this in Malmö, where so many women, a majority of women, I guess, meet and discuss the future, then I think we've missed a historical opportunity. One of the most moving moments during this London conference so far was when Dr. Mukwege from the Panzi Hospital in Eastern DRC told us that when he built his hospital in '98, started a new hospital, he was hoping to do maternity care and to care for children, to cure illnesses and take care of diseases. His first victim was a young woman who had been gang raped and afterwards shot in the vagina. Her womb was destroyed, her pelvis was broken, and he was totally shocked by what he saw and what he has from then on had to work with. Not to try to cure illnesses or deal with maternity issues, but rather help these women that are victims of sexual violence. The one worse wounded than the other, and just over the few last months, he has actually treated 10 children under the age of 5. I think that how come that all these strong women, and despite the fact that we've had ambitious UN resolutions since the year 2000, not more has happened? Why are women still absent in the peace and security context, in the negotiations, in the mediations, at the decision-making table all around the world? We have to hold politicians and political leaders accountable. So let there be a message from this meeting today, from the Nordic Forum, from women and men and others all over the world, that this is a global scourge that has to come to an end, that it can and must be stopped, that we will not allow more of conflict-related sexual violence. These ministers must also be able to say what they have done so far and what they aim to do, and I mean not just proclaim that they are for women, peace and security, but rather, will we see a woman special envoy for Syria, an Arab woman as a special envoy for Syria? Will we see that there is a rule that there will be no negotiation teams from the UN or any national country without women? Because the rule must be nothing about them without them. Will we actually see more women ambassadors? These ministers continue to appoint men as ambassadors. Will we see more quotas of women being represented everywhere, and especially, of course, on the negotiation and decision-making tables? Will we see these ministers take steps, bold steps, to address the root causes of war and conflict, for example, in the DRC, and that means conflict minerals as one of the actions that we expect them to take? What has our own ministers been doing? What about our Swedish ministers? Have they been active on that issue in the European Union? Have they fought for an ambitious legislation against conflict minerals? If not, I think we should ask for that. We should make sure that they are kept accountable for their actions, not only for nice words. And I expect them to take action, to say that it is time to move from words to deeds, also on the women, peace and security issue. And it is not a women's issue. It is a peace and security issue. This will continue to be one of the biggest obstacles to achieving lasting peace in so many countries, because sexual violence brutalizes a society. It leaves scars in a society. It destroys the social fabric in a society for generations to come. And that is why it is so important that we act, that we ask those who are responsible, who carry a responsibility, to do something about it and make sure that we can stop conflict-related sexual violence. And let's remember who we are talking about. And I will finish by telling you again the story of Joyce, who was a girl that I met in Goma just after I had started as UN Special Representative. And she was in what is called salle d'écoute, which is a place where they can share their stories. She came with her father, but she sat on her hands all the time in that small, little, ugly room where we were, and she would keep her back and her head bent and would never look us in the eyes until we told her, "It is not your fault. There is no shame falling on you, only on the perpetrators. They are the ones guilty. They are the ones who should feel shame." And the story was what it is most of the time, when everyday life turns into hell. She was walking with a friend from school on that dirt road in the little village where she was living, when a military jeep stopped and the soldiers asked her to go, or rather gave order to her to go and buy them cigarettes. And when she returned, she was picked up in the jeep. And what happened next, because she was away for a couple of days, she would not tell anyone, but it was clear that that is when the light went out in the 17-year-old's eyes. And her father was devastated. She was the best in her class. She was the best in the school. He had invested in her because he could see that she would become something important. She was the hope also of that family and the society. But that would never happen. She was badly wounded, and she had also lost her soul in that experience. At least she had a father who cared for her, who decided that this was so important that he would actually take her to the salle d'écoute, that he would ask for assistance from the international community and others who could help the Congo and the civilians in the Congo. And that gave some hope that the change is there. Slowly, things are moving in the right direction, but not without civil society. So that is another demand on these ministers. Make sure that you give support, and economic and other support, to small women organizations, because they carry a lot of the work and a lot of the responsibility to make life easier for families everywhere in the world. And make sure it is real money and real support and not only good words. I believe that there is a fantastic opportunity for us here today to mobilize, and I think we should also turn to the military to say, now we have managed to get a lot of people on board, everyone from journalists to civilians to individuals to some politicians, some leaders. But now it's time for the military leaders to stand up and say, and I don't mean retired military leaders, but commanders, to say, we will not let this happen under our watch. We will do everything in our power to stop this, because that is what will also send a strong signal in the national security forces and in the military and male world. Thank you for everything you are doing. I know you come from organizations that carry out a lot of hard work on these issues, and it depends on you. It depends on the continuous work and support from all of you. So good luck with everything you're doing. Thank you, and let's stop sexual violence. It's time to act.